What's up, everybody? I looked into Tren de Aragua to see if there were any determining factors to prove if you're in that gang. It turns out that that gang, which is not in America in droves, it is in other countries like Brazil, not in America. The only ones that they could find in America were ones who ran away from those gangs because they feared death. They got asylum. There are not a lot in this country. But these racists are out here telling you, the MAGA Republicans, that they're here in droves because you are wussies. You like to be scared and believe in that bullshit. But they're not here in America. Not like they're talking about. Not at all. And they've been telling you that they can tell by tattoos. Experts say from that organization, around that organization, doing research on that organization for years, there are no telltale signs of Tren de Aragua. They do not have tattoos. They are a gang that does not show you who they are. They learn from that and don't do it. So you cannot tell if a Latin person that may be in that gang is in it because there are no telltale signs. So what they're doing is arresting Latin people they think are criminals. And you don't have to be one. They're just saying you're one. And MAGA is too stupid to realize they're being lied to. They're too scared. They're being lied to. There are no Tren de Aragua in here in droves. They're not harming anybody. I'm 54 years old. I've lived in many states in my life. And I have yet to hear of Tren de Aragua until Donald Trump and their minions made them into this thing. I thought it was a lie a while back ago. I'm like, what are they talking about? I've heard about the Bloods, the Crips, the Disciples. I've heard of all these gangs growing up. I've never heard of Tren de Aragua. So when I looked it up, it said they're not in America, they're overseas. And the ones that have come here were through them getting asylum running away from the gangs. So I'm asking, like, are they a lot in this country? Are there like millions of them here? And it's no. So where in the fuck are y'all getting your information from? I don't understand. These MAGA people are out here screaming and crying about they're out here doing this, and they complain and blame it on it like these wonderful human beings, black and brown, that were in the Chicago building, and the hateful owner calls up the FBI or whomever came, and they did like a military invasion on an apartment building and helicopters rappelling, breaking windows and shit while people were asleep, having no idea of any investigation of these people actually being in Tren de Aragua. They attacked American citizens, detained babies and families with no evidence of any of it being true, and have arrested 36 or 37 people whom I know for a fact are not Tren de Aragua. Why? Because they're not in our country like that. None whatsoever. Donald Trump and his minions have told you they have tattoos. That right there should tell you they're lying, because Tren de Aragua has no tattoos. They're just Latin. They don't play that childhood gang shit. They're a big gang, but they have no telltale signs of who they are. That's how they stay hidden. And you guys are sitting here thinking that the government knows. They don't. That's why they're getting innocent Latin men and making black people go through this shit. Let me give you another understanding of how investigations should go. Scott Jennings said that the owner of the apartment building called them and said that they believe that Tren de Aragua is there. That should not have police attacking a building because someone called. That's not how this rolls, right? If somebody believes that Tren de Aragua is there, they surveil the location, and then they see if Tren de Aragua is actually doing crimes or things of that nature that they can get a warrant for, right? So they watch and surveil them Sometimes they surveil them for weeks, months, years. They try to get into the organization because if they're here in small amounts, you want to get to the big dog. So therefore you can cut off the big dog head, and therefore the rest of it falls apart. You don't go after the little people, because then the big people get upset and end up doing something crazy. That's how you get gang members and so forth. Not unless they commit a crime and you get them for the crime. These people have not committed crimes. They had somebody called the police or whatever, and then they called the FBI or whatever the hell came through. And then you came in without doing an investigation. That has never happened in the history of America. Not unless you have an immediate threat, you do not act like they acted. And the justification of some of these races is ridiculous. Oh yeah, well, they're allowed to come and get people. How else are they going to find out if Tren de Aragua is there? It's called an investigation, stupid. You just don't just run in and just take people. So if I call and say that Tren de Aragua is in a Beverly Hills community, right? You mean to tell me they're going to run up into a multi-million-dollar community and get everybody out and rappel from the sky and break their windows and have all these millionaire people walking outside and their babies all tied up and shit and called to detain? You think that's going to happen? Fuck no. Quit lying to yourself and quit lying to us. We're not that stupid. You know that wouldn't happen. So why did it happen here? Tren de Aragua is not in this country like they're saying they're in this country. Just do your research and you'll find that the government doesn't have any record of any number of Tren de Aragua in any federal financial document whatsoever. It is all a figment of their imagination and something that they're telling you to be fearful of. When in all honesty, the thing you should be more afraid of is Donald Trump and MAGA minions, because they're the ones who are the enemies of the state.